Greetings to the people of Africa, all of the nations of the continent, and Africans outside their respective homes. We say this is the platform, The Motivation. And it is a platform that is meant to inspire and motivate the current generation of young people in the actualization of their respective dreams, and preaching a message of peace and national unity, as well as revitalizing the Africanization policy that speaks about good governance, social justice, democracy, human rights, and most importantly, the African unity. And it always comes on your way on Symbiance VIP magazine, Symbiance TV. And I remain Tony Michael Howard, your own son, your own brother, your own friend who is tasked with this responsibility. For tonight's edition of the Motivational Platform, I speak to you on what I called raising your personal standard. Raising your personal standards. It's a very crucial topic, especially for young people, those who are still yet to actualize in their dreams. Even those who have already actualized their dreams, it is very important for professional people, for individuals who are not even into professional places, informal gatherings. It is important that we raise our standards if we expect to climb higher heights. Lots and lots of people have been victims of circumstances. They've received multiplicity of disappointments from friends. You felt being disrespected in relationship or treated wrongly, and what of you? We are not saying that if you raise your standards, you are not going to see somebody's deficiency. But what we're saying in essence is that it is important that one has standards as you live as a person. It is very important. So tonight I'm going to be driving you through just very few points as it comes to raising your standards. And what are some of the results and effects of an individual who raises his or her standards? That's why we are here today. Seated under the sound of my voice, I challenge you to take note. This is for you and this is for me, for every young person, for every individual, professional and non-professional. It is important that we take this topic very important tonight. Watch out. Now, what is a standard? A standard is a guiding principle that governs an institution, an organization, an individual, a group, or society. Every individual must have standards. Even from creation, there is standard. And if you do not have standard, one philosopher says that if you are not living on principles, then you are heading for troubles. And what is principles? Principles is the standard that is set aside for one in the pursuit of your target. It is important. If you do not live your life in principles, you must be heading for troubles. Now, what are the keys to raising your standard? In the expectation of your dreams, your aspirations, the first standard you need to set, which is very, 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 very crucial, is to identify your frustrations. Identify what frustrates you. Identify what you hate. Identify what you detest. What you do not expect within your comfort zone. Recognize them. List them down. Say to yourself, these are things that I will not expect in my life. These are things that I will not tolerate in my life as a person. No matter what, I must be able to build these walls. People do not build walls around them to prevent people from entering. Instead, they built these walls to be able to recognize people who are strong enough to break these walls and enter. And building the walls has to do with the standards you set for yourself as a man, the standards you set for yourself as an individual, the standard you set for yourself as a young girl. I am saying this to you in confidence. If you do not have a standard, you are in trouble. You become vulnerable in society. You are not honored. You are not respected. Your words do not merit consideration in public gatherings. You need to have a standard for yourself. So what do you need to do? You first need to list your frustration. What are the things that you cannot tolerate in your life? And it is not only important that you just visualize them. It is important that you take a piece of paper, with a pen and you list these things down. And you have to make a personal declaration and say, I, Tony Michael Howard, I will not tolerate this. I will not allow people to insult me for the second time. I will not give someone a provision to disrespect me for the second time. I will not find myself into places that do not add value to my life as an individual. I will not get myself involved into gatherings that do not have the possibility of adding value to my life. You declare these things just like you are under oath. And once you make these declarations, what happens? You must develop the mindset, you must develop the attitude to respecting the basic principles you've listed. These things that you've not been able to tolerate, you must be able to practicalize them. As you have listed them on the paper, you must be able to live by these things. That's what makes an individual with standard. It is very crucial, seated under the sound of my voice. If you want to be protected socially, if you want to be protected mentally, it is important that you set some guiding principles for your life, and it has to do with building your standards. I will drive you through few key quotations when it comes to building standard. But before I go there, I go to point number 2. Be clear about your top passions and core values. Once you will have recognized those things that you cannot tolerate in your life, now you need to identify, you need to recognize your passions and your conviction and the core values that protect your life. Be clear about them. Specify them. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to achieve in life. Have a passion, because it is your passion and conviction that will drive you, that will direct you how to conduct your life and how to prevent attitudes, to prevent friends who do not align with a vision. Because it is when you do not have a core value, it is when you do not have a passion and conviction that you become vulnerable to all sort of friends. And I say to you, the kind of friends you mingle with determines the direction. And I told you before that in one of my public forums, I say that any association, your association determines your destination. The kind of people you attach yourself to determines where you are heading as an individual. So that is why it is important that you set standards, because it is only when you set standards that you'll be able to evaluate your friends. You'll be able to filter your friendship. Then you see people who have the attitude, people who have the charisma that resemble the kind of standard you set for yourself as an individual. But in the absence of that, you will be mixed with all manners of people who are not supposed to be in your life. And you see things going wrongly in your life, and you start to shift blame on other people. It is not important that you live a life that way, especially when you are in your 17, your 18, your 19, 20s. It is important that you build these standards in your life if you expect to climb some enviable height in your respective career ladders. Now, after you will have recognized your passion and core values, refuse to be an afterthought. Refuse to be an afterthought for anybody. This is going to our girls out there. If you are not the primary call, let him go. If you are not the number one reason for which he should call, allow him be. Do not be an afterthought. There are some guys, they will have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 girlfriends. They call this one, and when they do not get the person they expect to talk to, then they turn your direction. How do I mean? And then you become an afterthought. That is simply because you do not have standard in your life as a female. But if you build your standard, a success-driven, oriented girl, a success-driven, oriented, serious, determined, focused young girl is more attractive than a lady who waits around for the man to validate her existence. You didn't get me very well. I am saying, even though you are not very tall, even though you don't have pink lip or pointed nose or nice eyebrows or something, or you are not fair, because nowadays our sisters have the wrong assumption that until you are fair in color, you are not beautiful. So they go and take cream to bleach the skin. I am saying this in confidence that a success-driven, oriented girl, that is a girl who has goals, who have targets, who have aspirations, is more beautiful, is more attractive than a lady who waits around a man to validate her existence. You don't need to wait for someone to validate their existence if you have standards as a female. You don't need to validate a lady to determine how handsome or how great you are. If you have goals, you have targets as a young person. You will be living in an era if you organize yourself in such disorganized manner. That is why we are consistently inconsistent, because we lack standards. And once you lack standards, you will become consistently inconsistent in whatever you do. It is important you realize these lines. The next thing you need to do after you will have identified your frustrations. When I say identification of frustration, is things that you hate, things that you don't tolerate, things that you detest in your life. You need to list them down and do what I call a self-declaration and say, these are things I am not going to tolerate in my life. After we have done that, point number 2 says, be very crystal clear about your passions and your conviction. Things that are very crucial to you, recognize them, put them down, and then keep to the specifics of these targets. Once you focus on these things, the real people stay in your life. The real friends stay in your life, because you know that you got a target that you're trying to achieve. You are not involved in all of these inconsequential and non-important aspects of society, because you have standards in your life. After you will have done that, the next thing you need to do is to renew your mind. Renewing your mind is putting aside all of those things, putting aside all of those words, all of the wrong beliefs and attitude that blocks your happiness. And once you must have renewed your mind, all of those hindrances that block your happiness go away. Hey, you're on the right path. Because until you have a renewal of mind, you are heading nowhere in the targets, in the aspiration of your dream. It is important to do that. Let me quickly drive you through a few quotations about certain standards before I take leave of you. We don't want to take much of your time today, just very short period. Like I said before, a basic, vibrant, goal-oriented woman is more attractive than a lady who waits around a man to validate her existence. Refuse to be an afterthought. Once you become that, your value is missing. Once you become an afterthought in the life of an individual, then your value is missing. You must be the primary person in that person's life. In the absence of that, then your value is missing. Refuse to be an afterthought by building standards for yourself. Do not go back to less just because you are so impatient to wait for the best. Do not go back to the less because you are so impatient to wait for the best. Have patience, have standards. Develop a mindset, renew your mindset. Recognize your passion and conviction as an individual if you expect to actualize your dreams as a young person. In trying to hire people for the piece of work, consider integrity, intelligence, and energy. In trying to hire people, that says, consider integrity, not only the integrity, consider the intelligence, as well as what? Energy. If you do not get the first one, which is integrity, the other two are going to kill you. So the three attitudes must be there. The person must have the integrity, and the one who has an integrity is one who sets standard for his life. So when you want to hire people, find those who have integrity. They also have intelligence, and they have as well as what I call the energy. If you don't have the first one, then the other two are going to kill you. Just in case you just joining us right now, I was talking about setting your personal standard, and I said the first thing you have to do quickly is to identify your frustration. That is, things that you detest, things that you don't like in your life, things that you cannot tolerate in your life. List them on a paper and declare that these are things I'm no longer going to take in my life, and live by those principles. And we say that we'll be very crystal clear about your passions and what should be clear about. Your passion and core values. Know what you want to achieve, because it is only when you have a sense of direction that you keep aside reasons, you keep aside things that do not have a possibility of adding value to your purpose. So be very crystal clear about your passions and your core values. Not only that, we say as well, renew your mindset. Put aside all of those thoughts, all of those emotions, all of those attitudes and behavior that do not align with your target, that do not align with your real personality. Because the first time somebody talks to you for 1 or 2 minutes, what you say and what you do makes that person to classify you. And you are classified according to your standards. So seated under the sound of my voice, every young person, it is important that you realize that you need to set standards for your life. And for those who have been supportive of our work, especially my boss in the United States, Mr. Usman Cize, not forgetting Ida J. of Norway, Babukar Cize. These people in the United States of America, that I salute you big time for supporting the works of the Sembians, VIP magazine and TV. Ajiseka of the United States of America, I also salute you big time. Miss Jarai Kamara of the United Kingdom, I say thank you so very much for your support constantly. Those in Nigeria, those in Ghana and Freetown, Sierra Leone, Liberia, those following on the Facebook, we salute you big time. Kwame Napia, Kwame Modu, and all that. We say thank you so very much for all of your support. Alhaji Seka in the United States. I listen to your comments. I listen to your audio sent through our producer. We want to say we are so grateful for your support. People like you are the reasons why we keep hitting the ground and running, because this continent requires young people to take the mantle of responsibility to steady affairs of this very continent. Because if you are not building on principles, you're heading for troubles. And until we learn to own our own problems, find our own solution, we won't be able to write our own stories. Courtesy of the Rwandan President Paul Kagame. Seated under the sound of my voice, this is Tony Mickett Howard, and this is the platform called the Motivational Platform that comes away on Sembians VIP Magazine, VIP TV in this part of the world. Thank you very much. If you like, follow us. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. If you like, follow us. Bye-bye.